What is up, Minties? The Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition.
And today, I'm going to do an overview of the Spider-Man by John Byrne Omnibus from Marvel Comics. So please stay tuned. So let's get started. This omnibus came out a few weeks ago, towards the beginning of September. But mine got super delayed. I don't know what happened to it. So I know a few of you have been asking me to do an overview, and here it finally is. Here is the front of the book. Here's the spine of the book. I actually really like that design. And then the back of the book. Here, it retails for $125. Now let's take a look at the book without the dust jacket. You get this nice John Byrne image here. Doc Ock, all the villains against Peter Parker and Mary Jane, who just got married. Now let's take a look inside of the book. Here it is, and Spider-Man by John Byrne. Here are the credits. Bill Mantlo, Chris Claremont, Marv Wolfman, Roger Stern, John Byrne, Howard Mackie, and Ralph Macchio as the main creators, the writers, and then the penciler being John Byrne. Here's the table of contents telling you what all is collected in here. Speaking of what's collected in here, we have Marvel TeamUp 53 through 55, 59 through 70, and 75. Amazing Spider-Man 189 through 190, 206, Annual number 13, Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man number 58, that's the original series, by the way, and Spider-Man Chapter 1, 0 through 12, Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 18, and Marvel Authentics Amazing Spider-Man number 1. That is what the contents of the book are. So, some of you that have been wondering, the issue with Red Sonja, the Marvel Team-Up issue, is missing from here. And as I mentioned before, I'm not sure 100%, but because of the Red Sonja comics left out of the Conan collections, or the Conan omnibuses, I think it has something to do with her character, that she can only be reprinted by Marvel if she is collected within the pages of Conan. Not anywhere else, nor her own comic being collected or as a part of a collection. I think. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. So you have a lot of... This is probably my favorite part about this particular collection, are these classic Marvel team-up books by Chris Claremont and John Byrne. They are wonderful and, you know, have never had a collection much like this in oversized format. That, I think, is completely worth it. First American appearance of Captain Britain, Brian Braddock. It's just different characters showing up. That was the point of the Marvel team-up. It's Spider-Man and somebody. But everything in here was drawn by John Byrne, which is an issue when you get to the later series. This series, well, no, not Chapter 1, sorry. When you get to the ongoing series. This is Chapter 1, the 13-issue maxi series that started back in... Oh, when was that? I want to say it was 97, 98. It was just John Byrne kind of retconning a lot of the stuff from Spider-Man's timeline. Now, one of the things that I did check, since I used to have the Next Chapter trade paperback, was this image right here in issue 7 is also found, or a ghost image is found in issue 11. And it was like that in the trade paperback, and I don't think that's supposed to be there, this ghost-like image. I don't know if you can see it there. It's the exact same image as this, but it is still in the Omnibus edition. And then we get to this series right here. This is Amazing Spider-Man, the relaunch that happened in 1999. Well, late 1998, really. And he was on the book for 18 issues, right? This is his artwork with new colors. You know, not my favorite art by John Byrne, but it's still John Byrne in oversized format. These have been previously collected, by the way, in these 3 trade paperbacks. These are known as Spider-Man, The Next Chapter. However, these trade paperbacks also contain the John Romita Jr. issues. And what's important to note about that is that some of the time, not all the time, but a story would continue from Amazing Spider-Man into the pages of Peter Parker Spider-Man. Both of the titles were written by Howard Mackie. So John Byrne only got to draw part 1 of one. But Peter Parker Spider-Man is not collected in these pages. So some of these stories probably feel like they are unfinished, I guess, in a way. It's artist-centric, It's an artist-centric omnibus collection. That's what this is. Now, there is room for more, of course, in my head. These are things that I think about. You know, if they wanted to come up with another omnibus edition, they could have the rest of the stuff by Mackie, the Amazing Spider-Man 19 through 29. Let me see. I would put Annual 2000, 2001 in there. Peter Parker Spider-Man 1 through 19. And Annual 99 of that. Issues of Thor, like the issue with the crossover, issue number 8. And then Spider-Woman number 9. And then Revenge of the Green Goblin, which they've collected some of that stuff already in a trade paperback called Revenge of the Green Goblin. But anyway, that's what I would collect, by the way. This is just another example of why I got this book. Oversized John Byrne artwork. Yes, he is not at his prime. I think, to me, like I said, he really hit it big when he was doing Namor. But it's still John Byrne. It's a lot better than most of the artists that were around at the time. At least to me. You know, it's all subjective. So a second omnibus or an oversized hardcover with Howard Mackie and John Romita Jr.'s stuff would be great. And it would line up perfectly with the JMS omnibus, because that's where it fits in after this omnibus, if you're keeping up with the omnibus reading orders. Now let's look in the back here for extras. Here's the Authentics cover. That is a John Romita Jr. cover. Okay, this is the Authentics stuff. So it has the just penciled pages and then inks. It's pretty cool. I never did buy any of those single issues. And then the rough colors, or the color masters, I guess is what they're called. Somebody please correct me in the comments. And then the final colored works. That's pretty cool. Actually, that's a really cool idea. To start off with sketches, the plot, and then moving into unfinished pencils to inks, to the color palettes, and then the final colors towards the end. Surprised they didn't do any more of those, or they haven't in a long time. Okay, and then we have covers that he did. So we have Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel TeamUp, reprints, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, final chapter. Oh, these are covers right here. Those are actual variant covers, I think. A calendar page by John Byrne, pinups, and covers and ads for other magazine. Marvel Tales, which are reprints of Spider-Man stories. It's pretty cool. Amazing Spider-Man and Peter Parker Spider-Man 12 form one image. And, oh yes, I love original artwork looking at this stuff here in the back. It's one of my favorite things. I guess this and the Marvel Team-Up are my favorite things about this book here. And there's a lot of that in here. Or here are recolored covers for the printings of the trade paperbacks of Marvel Team-Up Volumes 1, 2, and 3. The book is right at around 1,264 pages. Being a Spider-Man and X-Men completist, this omnibus was for me. And I have hopes that Marvel does a release of a second omnibus with the rest of the stories with part 2s, or I'm just going to keep these trades. But anyway, that's just me. Now, let's look at the binding. As you could probably tell when I was flipping the pages, it's that wonderful binding that we have come to love from Marvel, and it's all sewn binding, so it sits, or rather, it lays well as you read it. Look, even when I was flipping through the back pages here, that's what you want out of these books. It's got thick, glossy paper. It's similar to all the recent ones that we've had. It's not thin. Believe me, if it would stand out if it was thin. Looking at that Infinity hardcover from years ago. And that was the contents of the book. Let me know in the comments down below if you picked it up, or if you were on the fence about it, if you've already got it on the way, or if you're going to wait for maybe a second volume which will have the Peter Parker Spider-Man stories. I'd love to know those comments down below. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button if you enjoyed the content of the channel. And if you really enjoy the content of the channel, and you can, please think about joining our Patreon. And thank you to our existing patrons. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you for watching. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.